This meeting is being recorded.
Shana, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You are co-host now. You can allow people to get in if it's required, okay? You can admit people like Manisha ma'am can. Manisha, today Jugjeet sir is going to be occupied. So we will have
Yes, sir.
Gurdeep be the... So Gurdeep will host Amardeep.
Okay, sir.
He downloaded the video. She'll play it. Jugjeet is there for the first few minutes. He'll start it, then he has to go. So Amardeep will then talk to Gurdeep after that.
Yes, sir.
So he will be the co-host. You can go, we'll manage, there's no problem.
I came back.
So you're back in Muradabad, okay? As in
Yes, sir.
case you are Kolkata, then we'll manage, no problem.
No. I came back.
We finally crossed 10 lakhs on the Happy Teacher blog.
Yes, sir.
We crossed 10 lakh page views on Happy Teachers today.
That's great.
So the blog is meeting its purpose.
Yes, sir.
So if you add up your blogs, you cross over 30 lakhs today.
Yes, sir.
So I think we are on the right track. People have understood why we exist, what are we doing, what is the purpose of our work. There are some new ways. Zoom has added some reactions.
That's lovely.
Interesting.
This is cool.
Gurdeep, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I just had a call from Jugjeev. What Jugjeev said, he'll start the show and then he's heading to that Returning to Love event. So he will hand it over to you because you are screening. You might as well talk to Amardeep also. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
So you be the host as soon as Jugjeev leaves.
Fine, sir.
And the notes and other things, that reflections that Manisha, you will do all that?
Yeah, I'll do that. No problem.
So Manisha will prepare the notes and
Fine.
create the post and everything else.
Sure.
Okay, so that kind of gets the team together. Rishona, Amardeep has the link.
Yes, sir. I'll send it.
Oh, good. So that's okay. So we will join in. That's sorted out. We have Sunbeam Sun City. We have Shaurya Kaushik. In the Returning to Love event, Sunbeam Lehtara participated. So
Yeah.
their artworks are on display at the event.
I sent my daughter and a few friends to volunteer there.
Oh, lovely. Hmm. It'll be good fun from what I gather, from what she shared with me. It should be interesting and good.
Yeah, she wanted some volunteers, so I thought, okay, let me check with my daughter in case she is free, she'll go and do that.
Yeah, Dujit sir will also reach there, so he can also
Yeah,
watch.
that's lovely.
That he'll leave us at 11 to reach there in time.
Mm-hmm. I'll share sir's number with my daughter and ask her
Yeah,
to have a
do
word
that.
with sir.
Do that. Sir will reach there in time. He's leaving
Yeah,
at 11, so he'll reach there in time.
yes, sir.
You can even host on Google Meet, Manisha, if you feel that is better.
No problem, sir.
You can even host My Good School on Google Meet.
Yes, sir.
You can create the meeting link, and we can do everything in Google Meet, what we can do in Zoom.
Yes, sir.
In case you want to feel you want to host.
Both are equally good.
Yeah, so that's easy for you now that you have a formal account. So, Gurdeep, we have a paid Google Meet. So, with your official ID,
Okay.
so
Yeah, Gmail, yeah.
yeah, so you can use it. I mean, in the we have a bot Google Meet.
Okay.
In case we need anywhere and you want to host something or some event, please go ahead. Feel free to. Because the other day, Manisha and me both ended up in the same Zoom meeting. So then we decided, no, there has to be another solution to this. We
I
need to.
think Zoom, yeah, Zoom free version we get 40 minutes, but I think
Yeah,
it's a paid version.
yeah. Ours is a paid version.
Ah,
Similarly, Google Meet is also a paid version. You get as much as you want. So both our versions are paid. So there's no problem about that. Can someone buzz Amardeep Singh? You have downloaded Gurdeep?
yeah, yeah.
I'll do that, sir. Just give me a minute.
I just buzz him. Send.
I'm checking my settings and all. It's raining heavily here, so I hope no network issues.
You use Wi-Fi or you use hotspot?
Wi-Fi, there are some network issues, so I've connected this with my phone. I hope no issues because I tried with Wi-Fi, so there is some problem with the Airtel today here.
So you have downloaded, I
Yeah,
presume.
yeah, I have downloaded.
Then it's okay. It should work. It's downloaded. Let me see. I'll add you as co-host also. Okay, so you also have co-host rights, Gurdeep.
Okay.
That make it easy. Hila ma'am, good morning.
Very good morning, sir.
We're just getting ready to set up the video for today's show.
Good morning, Jai Hind.
Good morning, Jagjeev sir.
Morning. So much silence. I thought maybe my, audio system is not working. Gurdeep, I guess you're trying this. Can you just check the sound also? Thoda aage kar lo. Can you just check if it's working all well?
Is it fine?
Call for awareness presents the timeless cognizance of Guru
Audible?
Nanak, the selfless nurturer who transmitted an everlasting.
Yeah. So Gurdeep, I have to go for a function as I said. I'll take off, I think little around 11 and then just take that forward, right?
Sure, sir. Sure. No
Yeah.
issues.
Amardeep is on the missing list right now, right? Yeah. Morning, someone, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning, Jagjeev sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
All
Good
well,
morning,
sir.
sir.
It's nice to attend today's webinar.
Yeah, looking forward to it as well. Amardeep is here, or at least the signs that he's arriving.
Hi, Jagjeev. How are you?
I'm good, Amardeep. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Cold in Dehradun?
Oh, just stuck. This is the first time I'm doing like the Gurdwara Mandir style, sitting down with Rajai on me. I've never done a session like this.
Yeah, I guess, and today the sun is just peeping out here, although it's a bit cloudy. Has the sun come out in Dehradun?
No, it's raining today.
Oh
Drizzling.
God, yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, all good.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. But you're used to it. It's just, actually, no, maybe because last few years you're not used to it at all.
I'm not used to it. I am a Singapore man, right? So I'm used to.
You grew up, but I guess so many years being out of it. So
I just can't imagine how we used to do physical training in Doon school with shorts on early in the morning. I just can't imagine now.
yeah. I think the beginning in summer they used to allow us to wear. I mean, what did we wear? We wore white tops, yeah. In the beginning,
I used to be all I remember that I used to be freezing early in the morning.
Yeah, it used to be freezing for sure. Yeah, Dehradun is cold and not so warm in summer and cooler.
Yeah.
So yeah, very freezing.
So who's taking control? Who's playing the episode today? Last time I
Gurdeep has
wasn't.
downloaded it. She just tested it.
Okay.
Gurdeep is going to play it.
Okay.
I'm going to start this off and then I have to go for a event. So I'm going to then join in. But I'll be in the car, so I don't know how well or badly it'll go. So Gurdeep will carry forward the conversation. And I just found the fact that this episode is very intriguing personally for me because I actually got up in the morning yesterday in Tamil Nadu. I was in Kanyakumari, and this episode is in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
And those some of those folks in the video, I saw that people in the same dress yesterday in Kanyakumari. I was in Kanyakumari. And,
Yeah.
that black, the black top and the black lungi.
Yeah.
I saw so many of them because Sabrimala is open
Yeah.
right now, and so people are sort of going there as well. So there's a lot of pilgrimages happening in that part of the world right now. So, what's the time? Should we start, Gurdeep? I think it's time to start.
Yeah,
Okay.
sir. Shall I share the video?
Yeah, so
Share
let
my
me
screen?
just introduce
Okay.
Amardeep to everybody. I think most of few have been there before, but there may just be some folks. I'm not sure Sandeep Bhalia was there last, last month. So Amardeep, welcome. We've added a few schools as we continue to do. So I'll just informal introduction for everybody. Amardeep, has been now with us for little over a year. This is the 13th episode, and we really, really appreciate his coming. Amardeep basically stands for oneness, if I can sum that up. He's a very, very passionate advocate of oneness. He, uh, is an engineer from MIT. That's Manipal Institute of Technology in India. Then Manipal, sorry. Yeah, Manipal Institute of Technology. In his MBA from Chicago in the US. He worked in the corporate sector. He worked for American Express for 25 years. He's taking care of Asia Pacific for them on finance, and one fine day he gave this all up. And since then, he's been bringing oneness to the world. I'm sure he was doing it earlier too, but he took it on formally, so to speak. He is what you call a visual ethnographic researcher, right? And he has authored 2 books, and they basically try to bring to us our lost heritage, largely in Pakistan, but also he's covered other countries, subcontinent and beyond. And he's really, really passionate about what he does. He's in the process of making another docu-series, which is on the saints of India. So, Amardeep, with that, I'm going to hand this over to you and to take that forward. I think today it's about 36 minutes, so just tell Gurdeep where you'd want her to stop as well in the middle. And all yours. Thank you for being here.
Right. So, Gurdeep will stop somewhere around 21.20 minutes of the play. I think, let me just hold on. Let me guide. I'll interject where we have to stop. Okay. Around 21.2 minutes. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Let me just first give some key messages for the first half of it, and then we'll stop there, and I'll add on the next layer of messaging. So this episode is the journey of Guru Nanak going towards South India. Now he's heading towards Sri Lanka. And so last one we experienced in Odisha, where essentially, if you remember, we talked about the evolution of the English word juggernaut from Jagannath, right? And he gave a very profound message as a naturalist out there, respecting nature. And we brought in how he gave this composition at the Jagannath temple. Now, moving down south from there, this episode will take us on a very quick journey through Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, and then from Nagapattinam, he will get onto a boat and head towards Sri Lanka, which is in the next episode, episode 14. But the key messages out here is around 6.5 minutes at the site of Ganjam, which is a Shakti Peeth, right? And Shakti Peeth is where, in the Hindu mythology, it is believed that when Shiva carried his wife Sati, his first wife, after she left the body form, then he was not able to get detached from her. So it's a message about detachment, right? And he carries her around for years, and then finally the divine energies sever her body as a force to kind of make him detached from the attachment that he has with her. That is signifying or personifying that we get entangled in the materialistic world or the materialism, and we just kind of can't let go. So that's the message out here. So he severs her. And the mythology goes that wherever, or the belief system is that wherever her severed parts fell down, there are Shakti Peeths in those areas. So each Shakti Peeth is made in the memory of one part of a body that's fallen at a different place. So Ganjam is another Shakti Peeth. Now, interestingly, the verse out here that Guru Nanak's verse that will come into this section at about 6.5 minutes is talking about the gender neutrality, which is, I mean, really look at 550 years back, a saint from Indian subcontinent is talking about gender neutrality. I mean, a lot of traditions have talked about gender neutrality. So don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm trying to play one-upmanship, but a lot of like Upanishads have talked about it. A lot of other traditions have talked about it. But in case of as a social reformer of Bhakti Sufi period, Guru Nanak, along with Kabir and all the others, were very strong advocates of gender neutrality. And somewhere around the period thereafter, this gender discrimination has been on the increase. But we are on that tipping point of the world where the male and the female equality is being talked about openly because the West has chosen to in the last 50, 60 years. So here he's talking about in a beautiful verse, Gavan Tugno Isar Brahma Devi Sohan Tere Sada Savare. You can hear that and look at the translation. But essentially, he's taking the names of male and female gods, like Shiva, Brahma, and the goddesses, and he's talking about Dev and Devi, the two terminologies, right? And in a sense, he's trying to talk about that they're all sitting on the thrones. So the creative power, it's not literally the gods and goddesses that we create in our minds as people, as energies that are running it. What he's talking about, the divinity which is given these forms and names by the human mind, actually is gender neutral. It has different forms of representation, and that's the key message to take away out here. Then he will enter a place called in Andhra Pradesh called Guntur. Now in Guntur, there is a verse of his that is associated that he's sitting next to a water pond, and the water pond typically, I mean, ponds do get dirty over a period of time because there's no water inlet and there's no water exit, so there's no fresh water coming in. So ponds tend to get dirty, but in that dirtiness also grows the beauty of a lotus, right? But in here, and that he has talked about in the Patna episode, how a lotus blooms inside a dirty pond. He gave a profound message there. But here he talks about in that dirty pond, now he's looking at frogs inside there, right? And he sings this shabad or the verse, Dadar tu kabhu na janas re. Dadar is a frog, right? Tu kabhu na janas re. So he's saying, oh frog, you cannot understand because your domain of existence is just the boundaries of this pond, which is filled with muck, right? So then he talks about is that you are residing in it, you are eating that muck, your world is around that muck. There's nothing wrong in the frog as a living being inside it, but he's taking a deep metaphoric meaning to say that we as humans sometimes create our own boundaries, the boundary of a pond, and the entire muck is all around us. And we are not able to get a third perspective, that is a detached perspective, to get out of that muck and see the world from a fresh perspective. So there's a famous saying in our Indian traditions that kuein ke daddu mat bano, right? So don't be a frog who's stuck inside a well, because inside a well, the frog will never be able to come out. At least from a pond, the frog can jump out if it desires, right? But if you're in a well, your whole world, your whole universe is that's that well, right? You'll never come out of that. So that's the essence out here, that sometimes in life, or most of the times in life, you have to break the conditioning that's been given to you by the boundaries that have been created, which is signified here by the boundaries of the pond, right? So that's the essence of the message that he's giving out here. From there, he will now enter Kanchipuram, and this is at around 16 minutes, right? And here he's talking about a very profound message. In South India, there are temples, and you'll see these beautiful temples all around in South India, beautiful architectures, and at Kanchipur, some of these temples are associated with the 5 elements through which the human existence or the entire existence, entire creation is made. And these 5 elements are water, earth, fire, ether, and air, right? So these are the 5 elements through which any materialistic existence that we see is made up of. So even a body, if you take the soul out of it, it's made up of these 5 elements, right? What we call as Panch Bhut, right? These are the 5 essential elements of materials that make us in the form. Whether it be the human, whether it be the animal, whether it be the living, non-living, anything, right? So in South, what happens is that they've got these temples that are associated with each element, and they are scattered around in South India. So in Kanchipuram, there is one temple that you'll see which is associated with one element of these 5 elements. So so what he does out here is he talks about a sense that he's giving through this verse is that these 5 elements are also making the human body, and within it resides the infinite potential. That means we have the ability to do whatever we want to as human consciousness, right? So so basically what he's saying is that we tend to worship or look for divinity or look for the creative energy in the form of these structures, whether it be a gurdwara or a temple or a church or a mosque. We tend to find it there. But what he's giving out here is a very profound message that those 5 elements is what your body is also made up of. What that place of worship outside is made up of is also made up in is comprising your body. So look for that infinite potential which we put inside the temple as God figure. Look for that God figure, the infinite potential right within you. So basically what he's saying is that if you can respect your body, if you can delve as consciousness within inside you, you have the ability to discover the infinite potential, the divinity right inside you. So that's the message that he's giving. And 2 more messages before I'll stop this first half of the essence. We actually will talk about traditions out of this. Now we'll move away from philosophy. So the one takeaway that I get from doing this documentary series is that the traditions were so intertwined from north to south to east to west in the past that people would travel across these geographies and boundaries. And in Kanchipuram, there is a place of religious congregation called as Nanak Udasin Mutt, right? And it's managed by people who are not from Punjab. So typically in current world, Guru Nanak is associated with Punjab. But the fact is, 550 years back, his philosophy had appealed so much that right from Afghanistan to Sindh, Balochistan, to UP, Bihar, and we're talking about those strands that we find that are severed because the hardened boundaries of religions kind of take away people from the society and the boundaries that get created. Similarly, you find out here that there's a small place where there's a person from Odisha who's sitting there, and he's totally ousted by the broader communities, but he's still holding on to Nanak's name, and his name is Mahant Basant Das. We were unfortunately not able to film him, but had met him a few years back. But when I reached there for filming, he had passed away. So we got someone to speak on his behalf. But in essence, what we are, as I leave this place, I am reflecting about the absurdity of existence. The absurdity is that sometimes we are trying to find meaning in life, right? And don't get me wrong, I know I'm speaking to the children out here. We all need to be motivated. We need to have a direction. We need to have a purpose in our life. The fact is, as you grow, you realize that the only thing that you control is the responsibility of choice that you make at some place. Rest of the outcomes, whether positive or negatives, is really absurd. You can't define it because you can't say that if I take this action, that will happen or that will happen. And when I'm looking at this particular shrine, actually deep down in South India, which has no connection with Punjab, and in today's definitions of boundaries of religions, how it's been severed, I'm thinking about what someone once took an action, how it has cascaded down to this severance, and the absurdity of this entire existence is what I'm reflecting about. This is my personal reflection out there. And we end this section at Kanchipuram with an alchemical transformation reflection, where we are talking about a verse of Guru Nanak, where we're reflecting that the purpose of human life is really to learn from experiences that we have around us, because that's the only thing that we control. And once we start learning from there, then we learn how to actually make the decisions and leave the outcomes to the energies that have actually given us birth in this place. So those can cause these alchemical transformations. Alchemical transformation is that you don't think you're going to get, so you can get multiple transformational results just by achieving that ability to kind of do the right thing with the full passion, and the rest is an outcome. So that's where we're going to stop. So it's going to be somewhere around, I'm going to point you at around 21 minutes. I will interject and I will request that please stop, right? So we can start playing now.
Sure. Okay,
Thanks.
sir. Okay.
We are not able to hear the voice.
Voice is not audible?
No.
Okay, just a second.
Nurturer who transmitted an everlasting panacea
It's audible now?
Yeah.
Okay.
for universal well-being in the land of Panchbhutastalam.
Gurdeep, can you request everyone to put their videos off, because the bandwidth will be lesser sucked and the video might play a bit better.
जी को पूरा प्रचार करते थे, ग्रंथ साहब पढ़ते थे, ऐसे उन लोगों को भी प्रचार करेंगे।
So you were saying something?
हम तो ये भी जानते हैं को हमारे में मंत्र दिया गया
So saying if you can put everyone's video off, then you will have a better bandwidth to be able to hear this. So just put everyone's video off.
It's done, sir.
Audio's gone. I think you need to play the audio. Gurdeep, we can't hear the audio.
Couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear it.
Yeah, sir. Audio is not, it's not audible.
No, it wasn't. Just try again.
I'll try again. Just a second. It's audible now, sir?
Yeah, just let it play. It should play settled out.
Shall I play it from my end?
Just try.
Okay, let's just.
I have it downloaded, but unfortunately, I have to leave.
Sir, it's still not audible.
No. No.
So it's still not audible?
No, no.
I don't know what happened. We checked.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Let Amardeep try. Maybe we'll
okay.
just.
Yeah, can someone confirm if we can hear it now?
No.
No,
Just
sir,
play again.
not audible.
पंजाबी वाले लोग सीखने को आएंगे आपको जैसा
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it okay
Now
now?
it's audible.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start now.
Yep.
It's not audible at my end. Can anyone confirm whether it's audible to you or not?
No, ma'am.
No, it's not audible.
It's not audible?
No, sir,
No.
it's not audible.
No, ma'am.
Sandeep, are you there? Can you try?
I'm going to try once again.
I'm very much here.
Can you try and
Just
play from there?
Just try from there, Sandeep.
Okay. So let me just share the screen. You share my screen, you see my screen. Okay, let me
Yes.
set this up. I was not really prepared for this. So we go here and we come here to YouTube. You go to the channel. Okay. And
Go to episode 13.
hey, I have it. I have done. I always download in my computer. So we will go to the downloads and play it from there. It's there in the downloads. It'll be there in history also. So because we downloaded it recently.
No, history will then play it online. Then just go to the download.
Yeah, we have downloaded it. Subscription. One keeps getting lost in these menus.
Go down further.
No, what we will go is we will go to
Episode 13.
Yeah.
Guru Nanak. Yeah.
Lily Punarlo calls for awareness, presents the timeless cognizance of Guru Nanak, the selfless nurturer, who transmitted everlasting panacea for universal well-being in the land of Panchbhuta Sthala.
गुरु जी को पूरा प्रचार करते थे ग्रंथ साहब पढ़ते थे ऐसे पंजाबी वाले लोग सीखने को आएंगे आपको जैसा आदमी लोग आएंगे उन लोगों को भी प्रचार करेंगे हम तो ये भी जानते एक हमारे में मंत्र दिया गया एक ओंकार सतगुरु प्रसाद
All good, Amardeep? Is that good?
It's breaking in between. The voice is breaking.
It's breaking, I think last time when we played from Singapore, right? So I had it on my
लास्ट
computer.
निफ्टी का 15 to 20 years का डेटा उठा के देख ले
See, from my side, everything was okay, but
Just to skip.
yeah.
एक ओंकार सतनाम करता
Sandeep, it's not playing well.
I guess too many people are using the internet in Dehradun.
It's coming and going, but it's still the best of the lot.
Okay, we'll play it.
Saint Band, bridge of transition.
No, you've gone ahead.
Positions of the grateful, victorious.
Played a wrong one.
And cross the worldly ocean from
You're
negative.
going to play the episode 13, you've gone to 14.
Okay, jump to the next one sec. So we go. That's it. Too many stories here. Sec. So what we
Sandeep sir, shall I try once again?
Yeah, just try once from your end.
Okay.
See, from your side it was playing fine. Is this? Yeah, just try the sound thing here.
Now it's audible.
Yes, ma'am.
संतोखी सतगुर पूरा गुर का शब्द माने तो सूरा साची दरगे साच निवासा माने हुक्म रजाई है.
A warrior strategizes to outwit the enemy. However, a true warrior is the one who outplays fear and wins contentment and truth. Having spent some time at Puri, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana travelled southwards to Ganjam, Guntur, Kanchipuram, Tiruvannamalai, Tiruchirappalli, and reached the seaport of Nagapattinam. From Puri, they first travelled south to Ganjam. Following Guru Nanak's footsteps, we travel from Puri to Ganjam. Some accounts state that after they stay at Puri, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana travelled back to Nankana Sahib in Punjab. However, according to the Janam Sakhis of Meherban and Bhai Mani Singh, from Puri they travelled further south. Following Dr. Kirpal Singh's assessment of the Janam Sakhi traditions, we travelled southwards from Puri to Ganjam. At Ganjam, on the bank of the river Rushikulya, we visit the ancient religious site located on top of Kumari Hill.
Ganjam hosts the Tara Tarini Shakti Peeth, a shrine significant to the Shaktism, a tradition in which the feminine energy is considered to be supreme.
Shakti means strength. It represents the sensitive yet dynamic female force which has attributes to selflessly nurture. Without empathy, there is no evolution for the betterment of society. According to Shaivism, Sati sacrificed her life to evoke the sense of empathy of her husband, Shiva. In realization of his past indifference, Shiva thereafter carries Sati's dead body for days. In order to help Shiva move forward in his reawakened form, Lord Vishnu severs the body of dead Sati, which fell at 51 sites across the Indian subcontinent. At each of these sites are established sacred Shakti Peeths to worship the feminine energy form. The Ganjam shrine is established as Thanpeet, the place where Sati's right breast fell.
गावन तो धनु ईसर ब्रह्मा देवी सोहन तेरे सदा सवारे गावन तुधनु इंदर इंद्रासन बैठे देवतियां दर नाले.
Dev is a Sanskrit word which can be translated as a term used for exalted beings. Devta being masculine and Devi feminine. Guru Nanak says the entire creation, including the celestial energies, are a manifestation of the single omnipresent Creator, who is beyond the realms of discrimination between male and female forms. From Ganjam, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana travelled further south to the city of Guntur in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Trailing in Guru Nanak's footsteps, we travel from Ganjam to Guntur. The word Guntur in Telugu language means a water pond. Guntur was famous for many water ponds. At Guntur, savoring the scenic beauty of a water pond and life forms thriving in it, Guru Nanak sang,
Dadar tu kabhe na jaanas re pakhas se baal basas nirmal jal Amrit na lakh
a lotus and a frog reside in the same water pond. While the flower remains untouched by impurities, the frog consumes dirt. Immersed in worldly desires, we too remain unaware of divinity. Akin to an ignorant frog, we are unable to benefit from the positives in our surroundings. We now visit the Bada Udasin Mutt, which was established in the memory of Guru Nanak in the early 19th century by Chandu Lal, a minister in the Nizam's state of Hyderabad. He made significant contributions to spread the message of Guru Nanak across South India by establishing mutts in places like Guntur, Hyderabad, Kanchipuram, Rameshwaram, Tiruchirappalli and Tiruvanmalai.
The Bada Udasin Mutt was established in the memory of Guru Nanak's visit to the region of Guntur.
Udasin mutts like these once played a significant role in spreading the message of Guru Nanak in South India. However, after the early socio-political events of the 20th century, these traditions have drifted apart. In present times, tangible links associated with Guru Nanak have diminished at these centers.
जिनके सपने मोह न माया उदासीन धमधान न जाए। कलयुग में नानक देव हम लोग बोलते हैं, नानक देव को विष्णु अवतार। यहाँ जो जिन्होंने संतों ने स्थापना की 1743 में स्थापना की, यहाँ मठ बने। इसमें पंजाब के भी संत आते थे। पहले हम गुरुमुखी भी पढ़ लेते थे। अरे हम तो ये भी जानते, एक हमारे में मंत्र दिया जाए, एक ओमकार सतगुरु प्रसाद, काल मूल ताजुनी से भंग, आज सत जुगात सत है भी सत, नानक वो भी सत, ये भी जानते हैं हम तो। आया समझ में आपके? है ये भी जानते हैं हम। तो हमारे गुरु मंत्र में यही दिया जाता है। हमारे जो साधु हैं उदासीन गुरु मंत्र में ये देते हैं। ये संतों की भाषा है। उदासीन समुदाय में अब तो कम कर दिए, पहले बहुत वाणी सिखाते थे, अब नहीं। नानक देव जी की वाणियाँ हैं, अब हम लोगों के यादें नहीं है वो।
Hearing a senior member of this commune recite verses of Guru Nanak is a testimony to the past affinity. Guru Nanak says, spiritual philosophies are universal for the benefit of one and all. From Guntur, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana continued their journey southwards and reached Kanchipuram. Tracing Guru Nanak's footsteps, we travel from Guntur to Kanchipuram.
Kanchipuram is an ancient pilgrimage center of South India. During the times of Guru Nanak's travels, this was a religious center for Buddhists, Jains, and Brahmins.
The Sanskrit term Saptpuri refers to 7 holy sites in Hinduism. Hindus believe that liberation can be attained by making pilgrimage to all the 7 sites located at Ayodhya, Mathura, Haridwar, Varanasi, Kanchipuram, Ujjain, and Dwarka. As these sites attracted large congregations, hence Guru Nanak visited them to interact with pilgrims. Historically, Kanchipuram was known as Ghatikasthanam, a center for various religious studies. Kanchipuram is a holy city for Shaivites, the followers of Shiva, and Vaishnavites, the followers of Vishnu. In Kanchipuram, we visit the Ikambarnathar temple, which is a symbolic representation of the earth element. Ikambarnathar temple is one of the 5 Panchbhut Sthal temples in South India, which are dedicated to Shiva. Each of these temples symbolize one of the 5 elements of the cosmos, comprising of earth, water, fire, air, and the impalpable ether.
Udon पंचफूटोऽपि कायाकड़ासन मन जागोटी सत संतोख संजम है नाल नानक गुरमुख नाम समाल.
Guru Nanak says that within the human body is a temple made of 5 elements, within which resides the infinite. So why seek the experience outside? Hence, in my humble understanding, respecting the human body is akin to revering the divine. We now visit Udasin Babaji Mutt in Kanchipuram city center. In the memory of Guru Nanak, this Udasin Mutt was established in the 19th century by Chandu Lal, a minister in the Nizam state of Hyderabad.
The Udasin tradition played a very important role in spreading the philosophy of Guru Nanak to the distant lands. This Udasin Mutt in Kanchipuram, when I had visited in the year 1994, there was Mool Mantar inscribed on this pillar.
During a previous visit to this site, I had the opportunity to meet with Mahant Basant Das, a 90-year-old Udasin leader of this shrine. I have vivid memories of him reciting verses of Guru Nanak. It was a testimony of his reverence for Guru Nanak. Even though Mahant Basant Das was of Oriya origin, he had grown up in the company of Udasins, who would teach the philosophy of Guru Nanak. Unfortunately, he passed away about 6 months before our current visit.
मेरा नाम शंकर है जी. मैं मठ में रहता हूँ बाबा जी के पास. बचपन से मुझे पाले थे.
तो आपको बचपन से आप उनके साथ रहे हैं?
हाँ जी.
आपको बाबा जी ने गुरु नानक के बारे में क्या बताया?
गुरु नानक जी को पूरा प्रचार करते थे, ग्रंथ साहब पढ़ते थे, उनके बारे में पूरा बता रहे थे.
तो ये रहने वाले उड़ीसा के थे, लेकिन इनको गुरुमुखी पूरी आती थी?
हाँ, गुरुमुखी आती थी.
तो ये शब्द कीर्तन वगैरह सब
करते थे. प्रचार भी करते थे, आने वाले जाने वाले को पूरा अच्छा शिक्षा देते थे. यहाँ का साधु लोग आएंगे, साधु लोग को भी अच्छा करेंगे, खाना पीना खिलाएंगे, दक्षिणा देंगे जाते समय. ऐसे पंजाबी वाले लोग, सिख लोग आएंगे, आपको जैसा आदमी लोग आएंगे उन लोगों को भी प्रचार करेंगे बाबा गुरु नानक जी के बारे में. महाराज ने बहुत अच्छे थे.
Deeply saddened for not being able to interview Mahant Basant Das, I reflected that while the human body comprising of the 5 elements can perish, however, the light of knowledge emanating from it can last forever. Such situations make me wonder about the purpose of human life.
काया महल मंदर कर हर का तिस में राखी जोत पाय नानक गुर मुख महल बुलाए हर मेले मेलन
Guru Nanak says that the purpose of human life is to learn from experiences and strive for alchemical transformations to unite the soul with its source.
You can stop here.
at a very short distance.
You can stop here, Gurdeep. Yeah. All right. So just to continue forward, we'll take the. Are there any thoughts or any questions that you want to actually take for 5 minutes before I go to the second half? Sandeep, how do you want to do it, or should I just move
Yeah,
forward?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Water bodies have played a significant influence in the travels of Guru Nanak. How is that? Why water bodies have always, you see every story of yours, every episode, it revolves around a water body. What is the significance of that?
I don't know. Sandeep, I can only be cynical out here in trying to answer that. That what comes before, chicken or the egg? Was he traveling to the water bodies, or did we make water bodies and sites after he traveled? I don't know.
So something for you to research on.
Yeah. So,
Water bodies and Guru Nanak's
yeah,
travel. So this
yeah.
question had been bugging me a few episodes. I thought I'd ask you one day, right from where he stayed underwater to so many days and then he popped up and all those stories which you had. He does give us an insight into the role of water in human lives. Ela
Yeah.
ma'am is raising a hand. Maybe she has an answer.
Yeah.
Actually, sir, water is as on Earth we have uh, 2/3 of water. So water is an important part of our life, and it is not only Guru Nanak Ji in Hindu culture also. As you see, most of the pilgrimages are situated on the bank of the rivers. It is equally important in our religion also.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So I just to second that, when I was being a bit cynical, I mean, maybe I missed out on that aspect, that when he's traveling to sites of pilgrimage congregation, that's where he was going, right? Whether it be Jagannath or it be, so many other places. Of course, these sites would tend to be around water bodies, many of them, not all, right? But at the same time, when I was being cynical because there's so many sites in the memories that have opened up much after his life, and they tend to be associated with the water body. So that's why I was being a bit cynical, that do we open the sites afterwards? And whereas the intent of his travel was elsewhere, where the dialogues were happening with the spiritual congregations, even now there are congregations coming in. So it's a bit of a, but I agree with you. I mean, more than 90% of the human body is water. The earth is majority water. So of course, water bodies cannot be ignored. But thank you so much, Ela.
Thank you,
Advik
sir.
has a question. Advik?
Yes, sir. Like I have to tell one thing, and I have a question. First, the question is that when that uncle went to that place, the temple, I saw a type of lion, very scary type of thing. What actually he was?
Yeah, Amardeep, the figure which the statue in the temple was a scary lion. That's what Advik saw.
Right. In these most of the places of worship, in the temples and all, you'll find many uh, depictions. You'll find now, when we as move forward to the next one, you'll find a more scarier depiction. You'll find a half human and a half animal, and that's coming from Hiranyakash, and the tale of Prahlad. That'll be depicted in one of the temples in down south, which you just notice in the second half. It's going to come in. My point is, these are mythical, or these are metaphoric descriptions of some characters of human of existence, not human, but of existence. So for instance, you'll find snakes depict some kind of an energy, and a lion depicts a different kind of energy. To me, it looks like, if there's no association of that animal to that temple, and if it's just put up there just for a typical for a general description of a metaphoric message, then a lion represents your
Courage.
fiercelessness, your ability to take charge. And I think those are the values that spiritual sites tend to actually motivate us for, to live life. I think that's what they depict, unless there's a
Okay.
specific reason in a particular place.
Okay, sir. And the thing which I had to tell was when they were going by, with the river. Have you noticed that the boat was actually making the sign of Trishul?
Okay, no, that's not. Yeah, I mean, people can have different perspectives. So thanks for sharing that. That's what you saw.
Yeah, over to you, Amardeep.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, so now moving forward, so now before he leaves Kanchipuram, there's a very profound message he'll give. Now he'll visit a site uh, where a commune of people were living and they were practicing very severe austerities, right? In some of the spiritual paths, they believe the path to achieving spirituality or to achieving divinity is by giving, going through harsh practices on your body. So in this commune, they would actually pluck every strand of their hair. They would even push themselves to, having unclean, dirty water also as a way of austerities, right? They would beg for leftover foods, right? Uh, Even to the extent of uh, certain practices with your human body excretion that they would do. And the world comprises of all kinds of thoughts, right? So Guru Nanak actually has a discussion with them out here. And Guru Nanak was an advocate of a middle path. He believed that divinity does not require austerities. Divinity does not require what he calls as a sahaj. Sahaj is a middle path with equipoise, with balance, by being involved in the world to do your worldly activities as well as actively taking a role in it is the way to achieve divinity. So he'll give this profound message out here on that one against extreme austerities. Then we will continue from here and we will come across a very interesting reflection which I will have on the South-North unity. Since we got children out here, I don't know how many of children are studying music, but as you will, anyone who's gone to musicology, you will understand that in the Indian tradition, music is generally around all these songs, all these shabads, all these verses are being sung. They are being sung in the rags. Rags are basically musical orders, certain way you have to sing a particular composition in which rag you have to sing to evoke a certain kind of a feeling, right? Now, Guru Nanak and Ramkali, there's a rag called Ramkali. Ramkali is sung in North and South traditions of Indian classical music. Now, when Guru Nanak visited South India, he interestingly he wrote some verses in a combination of two rag forms. He took the Ramkali and he repositioned it and called it as Ramkali Dakhni. Dakhni means south. He's given it a South India touch. Now, we've not necessarily sung in that touch, but the South Indian touch is that typically the music is sung with a bit of a shaking in the voice. The same rag, when it's sung with a bit of a shaking in the voice, it has a feeling of a South Indian Carnatic music. But the same song, when the same rag is sung in the North, it has a different way of presentation. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that his vision of trying to integrate even the musicology is something that we have to take away in terms of when the saints are traveling, they're looking at very fine elements of life. It's just not about divinity, it's just not about society and so on and so forth. Even from rags or musical compositions, they're trying to integrate North and South, which is something that we need to reflect on in today's divisiveness that's actually cropping up, how to overcome these and look at the message of oneness, right? Now, from here, he'll enter another South Indian spiritual place called Tiruvannamalai, right? And in Tiruvannamalai, he sings at that temple. Uh, he gives a profound message of suffering in the world. That basically what he's saying is the suffering that is caused in the human mind is because of ignorance from wisdom, right? So when you contemplate and not through physical penances and not through physical austerities, not through harming your body, but through reflection internally, you look at the message of all inclusivity and you look for wisdom that makes you transform. The suffering goes away or minimizes because you have an understanding of the greater game plan. As I said earlier, the absurdity aspect of it, you start ignoring the absurdity of existence and you say, let me do my part and leave the absurd outcomes of my decisions to the divine energies that are going to gift it to me, right? a message which comes out in Gita also, that focus on your actions and not on the outcomes, right? So that's what the key message out here is. I then we will enter another spiritual site, which is Tiruchirappalli. And in Tiruchirappalli, I will personally reflect that, South India is a hub for spirituality, because, North has experienced a lot of turmoils over the centuries, because most of the Central Asian invasions happened into the North, and it's been a very tumultuous history of the North. But to that extent, South India has been kind of protected, not experienced much of uh, outward invasions, and so their own culture and all and philosophies have sustained and developed over a period of time with a lot of peace around them. But a lot of these temples that have been built around are the massive structures, but they are representing three forms of divinity in the form of what we give names to gods, but actually metaphorically they're representing something else. I mean, we say Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma actually represents the energy that creates. Now, we give it the name Brahma, but it represents creative power. Vishnu represents one who sustains. So anything that is created that needs a sustenance, and Shiva is a power of destruction. So basically, to take it even in your thought process, a thought comes in. So yes, you can say it's a creative thought coming in. It's getting created. That thought expands and you start making something in the creative process, right? So that is the energy of sustenance. That is what you call as the energy of Vishnu. Or then the thought actually finishes off, and your creative power also finishes off, and that's the element of destruction, or what you call as Shiva, whether you take in the material or the immaterial forms. But these three energies are intertwined, and that's what you call as Omkar or Om or whatever you call it, right? And Guru Nanak says Ek Omkar, he puts a one before that. Basically what he's saying is that this entire creative sustenance and destruction process is intertwined into the oneness of entire creation, right? So here he gives a profound message that everything emerges from that one source, one energy source, whether you call it as creation, sustenance, or destruction. But ultimately, it goes back into that same source. What you see as a body will finish off. There'll be just vacuum. What you see as a thought which creates in your mind will also finish off. So that's what he's trying to say. And then we will end this by a very profound message, wherein he now hits the port of Nagapattinam. Now, in those days, Nagapattinam was a if you look at the geography of India, Nagapattinam is a certain area from the peninsula on the east side, which is coming out. And from there, he takes a boat and heads towards Sri Lanka, which we will cover in the episode 14. But the profoundness of the word that is being sung out here is that people would travel for trade from South India to Sri Lanka and from Sri Lanka to South India in the past, right? And Guru Nanak basically sings Main Banjaran Ram ki Ram. Ram out here is representing divinity, right? So I am a trader of the omnipresent energy, right, of divinity. And he says basically contemplation on is my basically merchandise that I am taking across with me. So in some ways, as he's going to Sri Lanka, where the common man would take a boat and go from Nagapattinam to trade spices, to trade some other goods and resources in those days, he's saying, I'm only taking one thing, which is contemplation and wisdom for a trade. That's all. So we'll end there. I think we can play it now.
Okay, I'm playing some.
Historic Jain temple built by the Chola kings.
Is it audible?
Yeah.
In the outskirts of Kanchipuram, in the village Tiruparuti Kumram, Guru Nanak visited this Jain temple, which is also known as Jain Kanchi.
Here, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana were warmly welcomed by a Jain priest. During their interactions, the priest discussed the customs and philosophy of the Jain faith and the fundamental belief in the practice of ahimsa, non-violence. Over time, ahimsa had evolved into a rigid ritualistic adherence, leading to acts like plucking each strand of one's hair to not harm life forms that may grow on them, and not purifying drinking water as it could kill organisms. The priest asked Guru Nanak why he had not bound himself to such practices. Guru Nanak sang,
सिर खुहाए पिया मदवानी झूठा मंग मंग खाई फूल फदीहत मुँह लैन पड़ा सा पानी देख सगाई पिडावागी सिर खुआन परियन हाथ सुआही आओ पियो किरत गवान टबर रोवन
extreme austerities can become impediments on the path of self and social progression. Guru Nanak explained that spiritual depth lies in practical implementation of the core philosophy of a faith, which entail purity of thought, speech, and action. Guru Nanak promoted connectivity through diversity. One such practical implementation is that he included regional music styles for rendition of his verses. Ramkali Dakhni Onkar is one of his compositions which is classified under the South Indian musical system.
Gagana gam anata joni asthir chita samad sagoni.
Continuing their travel southwards from Kanchipuram, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana reached Tiruvannamalai. Tracing Guru Nanak's footsteps, we travel to Tiruvannamalai. This pilgrimage temple city, ensconced between Mount Arunachal in the foothills of the Annamalai Hills, is famous for the Arunachaleshwar temple. Guru Nanak visited this city to interact with congregations of spiritualists. As one of the South India's 5 elemental cities dedicated to Shiva, Tiruvannamalai is associated with fire, which is worshipped as Arunachaleshwar at Arunachaleshwar temple. In Hindu mythology, Parvati once playfully closed the eyes of her husband Shiva, which led to earth being submerged in darkness. Metaphorically, this signifies inflicting agony to self and others due to ignorance. Thereafter, in remorse, Parvati performed penance at Tiruvannamalai. On top of Mount Arunachal, Shiva ignited a fire, which is a metaphor for the lifting of the darkness of ignorance through the light of awareness.
रोवे कृपन संचय धन जाय, पंडित रोवे ज्ञान गवाए। भाले रोवे नाहे फतार, नानक दुखिया सब संसार। मन्ने नाउ सोई जिन जाए, और कर्म न लिखे लाए, लिखे लाए, लिखे लाए।
Guru Nanak says that the entire world suffers from various forms of ignorance, which can be eased through contemplation and not through physical penance.
The Udaseens from Punjab, who had taken the philosophy of Guru Nanak to distant lands, had built a Udaseen Math in the city of Tiruvannamalai. This Math does not exist here anymore.
In departing from Tiruvannamalai, I reflect on sweetness and bitterness, which are paradoxes of life. Influenced by desires, these extremities create an imbalance of mind and body. When these percolate into the social fabric, they create a societal ailment which makes people at dis-ease with one another. This is the disease that Guru Nanak warns us against. Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana left Tiruvannamalai and travelled further south to the city of Tiruchirappalli. We now travel from Tiruvannamalai to Tiruchirappalli. At Tiruchirappalli, we visit the ancient Sri Rangam temple dedicated to the Vaishnavite tradition.
Tiruchirappalli hosts the most revered Vishnu temple, which is nestled between the river Kaveri and Kolaram. To observe, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana spent some time in this place.
It is in this city that Ramanuja, the 11th century Vaishnavite saint of the Bhakti movement, had spent the last years of his life. An Udaseen Math was established in the memory of Guru Nanak at Tiruchirappalli in the early 19th century by Chandu Lal, a minister in the Nizam state of Hyderabad. However, in present times, there are no traces of this shrine. In traveling through South India, experiencing temples dedicated to various forms of the divine, expressed in Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, I am reminded of Guru Nanak's message that these forms emerge from one source and merge back in it.
सुनो ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश उपाय सुने वरते जोग सबाए इस पद विचारे सो जन पूरा तिस मिलिए परम चुकाए दास।
From Tiruchirappalli, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana traveled to the port town of Nagapattinam. Tracing Guru Nanak's footsteps, we now travel from Tiruchirappalli to Nagapattinam. The word Nagapattinam is derived from Nagar, referring to settlers of Sri Lankan origin, and Pattinam, meaning a coastal town. Nagapattinam is a port city in the state of Tamil Nadu, at the mouth of river Kudavayyar in the Bay of Bengal.
Taking the sea route from the port city of Nagapattinam, Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana embarked on their journey for Sri Lanka.
In the past, this was a popular trade route between India and Sri Lanka. Guru Nanak's merchandise was unique. He equates himself to a merchant, trading the message of contemplation and the unity of creation.
मैं बंजारन राम की तेरा नाम बखर वापार जी।
That was beautiful, Amardeep.
Yeah.
I love the way you are now taking us on a voyage across the country yet again.
Well, you come back after the Sri Lanka visit
Yeah,
back
yeah.
into India.
It's very fascinating. You know, what I find, like I said some time back, all of us here couldn't imagine what a large country this is. And how in this country there are places which are very different yet similar. You know, the beliefs bring us together, but the geographies are so diverse in this country. I wonder what are the thoughts of the young people here when they travel across the geography and the lands. Maybe you could contemplate a little on the geography and how you saw the physical landforms change. That may add some interest to our young students here.
Is that a question to me, or I think it's a question that should go to the students, how they saw it in the episodes, and they can first start. Maybe
Yeah,
someone will say something, and I can say.
I wanted a comment from you before they ask you questions because I'm trying to goad them to
Well,
ask questions.
well, I think it's of course diversity of the creation, diversity of humanity, diversity of nature is something that always amazes anyone who starts on a journey of quest, whether internal or external, right? So that is something that is the most profound, amazing experience, physical experience that you get looking at the geographies and terrains changing, people changing. But I tell you, the beauty of it is that when you travel in these places and you actually keep your eyes open for looking for the cultural aspects of how people interact with these changing terrains and their practices. I mean, I found more similarities than dissimilarities in all regions, right? Because at the end of the day, humanity is the same, whether it be anywhere, whether it was in Mecca or whether it was in Tibet or whether it's in down south. It's what people do around their nature. It's essentially the same uniqueness, right? I mean, same stuff that I find, right? And I think that's the beauty of what in these travels we have always looked for is how common we are than trying to find differences.
And Amardeep, an interesting thing which you see, language was no barrier, and language over the years has unnecessarily gained so much significance. Why do you think this has happened? Earlier on, we were closer to nature, communication was far easier. Guru Nanak could communicate with his one Vani with people across continents. And today we become so insular despite the fact we have technology. We still feel language barriers today.
Which is a fair point. I mean, in fact, sometimes when you travel and you come back and I've also reflected on this aspect. I say that while there is merit in the education system that we go through in the modern world, but I think there's more barriers that this modern education creates because you are not learning from within the nature around you. You are not becoming aware of the things around you and learning slowly with the experiences that the nature creates for you, right? So I think it's all job oriented and all. I mean, people would do jobs earlier also, but they would do it around their nature environments. And I think this globalization and this mixing up of everything at the end of the day, if you look at the world is moving towards one language, which is English, right? So
Yeah.
barrier of language will still over the next 1,000 years, the barrier of language will go away, but you will come into a monolithic kind of a form and not diversity, right? And that's the
Really,
unfortunate thing.
the interesting bit is as we move along, and you'll see something on your screen just now, intentionally put it. It's a very ironical chapter. It says stop thief, and we're talking about animals. So who has robbed us of this sensitivity? Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, now this goes back to the students. I'm not going to answer everything.
I like the way you googlied and you said, okay, ab to googly ho gaya.
No, it's not googly. I mean, I think we need to have an engagement, not just you and me talking, right? So
Yeah, Advik, come on.
Yes, sir. I think actually, like this is the life of animals, and the chapter is Stop Thief. From the like the third or fourth paragraph, there is a word squirrel. So I think the squirrel actually like almonds, nuts. Yes, when he actually when he was trying to take the nuts from a place, the people saw him and just stop thief, go from here. There they were saying like that from my
Brilliant.
perspective.
Absolutely good. I'm glad you have got deep into the book. I was trying to connect the book to Guru Nanak's life, his travels, how nature. See, Amardeep, interesting bit which Jugjeev and me have discovered. Good school being more of liberal arts, and we read a lot about travel, nature, culture, biography, and everywhere one thing we find, which I think the story that we're all one. So when you look at this whole philosophy of animals, like the story of inner life of animals, or even what Jugjeev is reading currently, the My Name is Cinnamon. It's a story of a young boy who's growing up with adopted parents. So in all these things, like you said, diversity is the key. And if you were to give Guru Nanak's message in, one sentence to the young people today before you kind of decide to say, I've taken you too long on a conversation, and there are a lot of new people today who have perhaps not seen many more episodes. How in one sentence can you describe? Advik, just chill. We have to let others also talk after you. Yeah, in one sentence, just intro everyone into a work life of Guru Nanak, please.
Well, he's written about 970 odd verses, right? the more you study those maze of verses, and then he's done this immense amount of collation of the Bhakti and Sufi period, like he collated from his seeding of Baba Farid's verses under the Sufi Islamic tradition. Then later on, the latter gurus collated Kabir's writings from UP, came into Punjab. All this came into the scripture, the Granth Sahib, right? And a lot of people don't know about this. You can keep reading these 5,700 verses, but you ask me for one line, right? So that one line is simple. Just what he starts with. There's nothing else. Rest is all a mere expansion and exposition of all that one word. That is Ik Onkar. I mean, I've said this. Ong is basically coming from the historical word Om, which means creative sustenance and destructive powers. Called is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Call it Allah, call it non-form, call it whatever. There is an undescribable energy which is creating, sustaining, and destroying, as I said earlier, be it a thought or body or whatever it be. That energy system takes kar, akar. So onkar, that akar means is manifestation, whether it's visible or invisible manifestation. Like for instance, a dog we can't hear beyond 20,000 hertz. Dog hears much beyond that. The akar of sound for a dog's ears is much beyond ours, right? We can't see X-rays, we can't see radio waves, but it is in the form, it is existing there. So this creative sustenance and destructive power, which takes manifestation, whether we see it or we don't see it, but it is there. It is intertwined into one, which he puts as one before that. And it's very unfortunate, the more we study saints of the Bhakti and Sufi period, and we look at how Nanak has been described in the books, is Ik Onkar is written as God is one. He started a monotheistic faith, and I said, we just got it all wrong. He didn't talk about God. He talks about the energy which creates, sustains, destroys, takes the form, is intertwined into one single source. That's it. And this is not about monotheism, that the concept of something sitting up there in the heaven. He's saying that it's right here within you, right within you. And when you start recognizing that as one philosophical exposition of his through that one line, the rest of his 950 verses, or rest of Kabir or Farid or Joydev or Namdev, all of them coming together in 5,700 odd verses, will be all around that oneness. That's it.
Beautiful. So I'm getting tempted to say got it and got it. So he said got it and we said got it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, from got it to got it, the word has really evolved. So it's a wonderful morning. We've taken a lot of your time and we're almost at PM. We have this little story to read from Stop Thief. If you want to listen to it, please stop and thief with us. Otherwise, we've had a wonderful morning. Over to Gurdeep to do the word of thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. On behalf of GSA, I would like to thank you for this, I would say, enlightenment. For the students at this age, I think it's difficult to understand, like finding meaning in our life and finding a purpose in our life. At this stage, we are thinking of that. For students, I think it's difficult. But for the students, one message, that is my reflection for today's video. As Guru Nanak says, like Aaj Sach, Jugad Sach, Hai bhi Sach, Nanak Hosi bhi Sach. And our Guru always say Jap. Jap is meditate. So meditate on one thing only, that is truth. Only truth. That every student and as a human being we should follow and meditate upon. Thank you so much, sir, once again, and thank you, students, for being patient with all of us.
Yeah, you had
And
kind of
it
drop
was a
silence
wonderful
today.
session for
Unbelievable.
everyone.
I said pin drop silence today. Very little fidgeting, and everyone was so rapt in attention, which is unbelievable. And in episode 30, I thought they'd be tired of us.
Gurdeep, there's something that you did right today in playing the episode. So just whatever you did, replicate
Yeah.
it next week. Okay.
I checked my audio settings and also there was a problem at my end only.
No, but in the
I
past,
corrected that.
but in the
Yeah.
past, you were trying to play this and it would interject and it would break. And something you've done right. I don't know what you've done right. Just replicate that from next time onwards.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Thank you, Amardeep. Have a
Thanks,
great
bye-bye.
day. And if you happen to have time, coffee is always brewing here. Welcome to the studio. You're near.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop in one of these days, definitely. Maybe today or tomorrow.
Absolutely. So
Okay,
most
bye-bye.
welcome. I'm here through the week. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Amardeep. Bye.
Bye, Jagjeev.
Jugjeev, you're still around? You have not reached your event?
I know I'm close to Parivar. Close.
Lovely. So, welcome everyone to the new chapter today, The Inner Life of Animals. Gurdeep, is the screen bright and clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
I hope someone can admit people who are still coming in to read.
Yeah, I'm admitting them, sir.
Do that. So that should really help. So we will do the Stop Thief chapter today. If lying is widespread among animals, then what about theft? A good place to start is by looking at socially oriented animals, because thievery, like lying, has a moral component, and it is judged to be negative only when it is socially relevant and when it adversely impacts on other animals of the same species. Look at the interesting words. We have used the word thievery, because thievery, we have used the word lying, and we have used the word social orientation. So when theft is for good or when theft is for bad, when theft is socially unacceptable, let's discover that as we read along. When it comes to thievery, the American gray squirrel is a sly one. But before delving into its behavior, let's check out how it is doing in Europe, where it has become a serious threat to native red squirrels, which can also be black in color. In 1876, a certain Mr. Brocklehurst from Cheshire took pity on a pair of American greys that were being held captive, and he released them. In the years that followed, many dozen of other animal lovers followed his example. The grey squirrels thanked their liberators by reproducing enthusiastically, so enthusiastically that they have now pushed their red European relatives almost to the brink of extinction. Grey squirrels are larger and more robust. Yeah, one sec. They're red cousins, and they adapt to any kind of woodland, whether deciduous or coniferous. I'm sure you've heard of deciduous forest and coniferous forest. Even more dangerous to native European squirrels, however, is a stowaway that hitched a ride along with the greys. Squirrel pox virus. Why stowaway? So stow is storing something hidden. So the squirrel pox virus went along from the Americas to Europe. Whereas American greys are generally immune to the virus, European red squirrels die in large numbers when they are infected. See, this is how what happened in COVID times, how a virus went across lands and created havoc. Unfortunately, greys were not only released in the UK, they were also released in northern Italy in 1948. And since then, they have been advancing on the Alps. Alps is the mountain range in Europe. We don't know if at some point they'll manage to scale the mountains and march victorious into the German woods as well. Despite all this, I don't want to characterize grey squirrels as vermin. After all, it's not their fault. They were brought to Europe, and their dominance is not due to their behavior. Which brings us back to the topic of thievery. Squirrels sometimes get food by plundering the winter caches of other squirrels. In many cases, they must do this to survive, as the unsuccessful searches in the snow that I observe from my office window every winter attest. A squirrel that cannot remember the location of its caches will starve, and as a last resort, it may even help itself to its neighbor's loot. I don't know whether Europe red squirrels have developed a counter strategy. Sorry. But researchers discovered that American greys have. A team from Wilkes University in Philadelphia is in USA, observed gray squirrels digging fake empty caches. Caches are storehouses where squirrels store their food for winter. They did this in clear sight of other squirrels to lead them astray. In fact, they only did so when they thought they were being watched. When the eyes of other squirrels were on them, they dug around a bit in the dirt and pretended to bury something. According to researchers, this is the first evidence of rodents using deceptive tactics. So, deception is a very interesting phenomena. You have a lot of deception in war, you have a lot of deception to misguide people, put wool on the eyes of people. It's a very famous phrase. When many other squirrels were watching, up to 20% of the caches were empty. As a part of the experiment, the researchers then had students raid the caches that had food in them. And guess what happened? The squirrels reacted immediately, and from then on used deceptive tactics in the presence of human suspect humans as well. And I've actually seen this in my garden. Theft is also a big deal for Eurasian jays. So jays are birds. Now we are talking about stop thieving birds. These birds are obsessed with securing enough food for themselves. In the autumn, each bird catches up to 1100 acorns or beech nuts in the soft forest floor, even though they could survive the winter just fine with far less food. We all pile up food, don't we? So similarly, the jays did it. They not only rely on the oil-rich seeds as emergency rations until the next growing season, but also feed them to their chicks in spring. Even allowing for this, the sly bird usually store away too many seeds. And what an amazing memory they have. Jays find every one of their thousands of caches with a single stab of their beak. Small trees sprout from the unused seeds to ensure that future generations will have their own supply of nuts and acorns. So these birds are doing two, three things. They are actually doing dispersal because they are hiding seeds. They are finding storage for their food, and they are leading to other birds and animals to food too because they find them. In the woodland I manage, the author Peter has a woodland. In the woodland I manage, we use the bird's passion for collecting to plant young deciduous trees in the monocultures of old spruce plantations. So birds actually end up planting trees. This is how it works. We put seed trays on the post and fill them with acorns and beech nuts. Jays love to come and help themselves, and they then distribute their booty to the soil, hundreds of meters in every direction. So they courier the seeds. It's a win-win situation. We get precious new stands of deciduous trees in the woodland, and the jays get huge quantities of winter provisions with very little effort. Some years, however, the oaks and beeches do not seed, and then things get tight for these colorful birds. Whereas the population increases in years of plenty, in lean years it shrinks. This ruthless natural cycle, this ruthless natural cycle has been repeated over and over since time immemorial. But who wants to starve? Some of the birds fly south, but most try to survive in the woodlands they call home. Just like the squirrel, in lean times, jays watch other jays in late autumn to see where they bury their treasures. And because no bird can keep watch over such a large number of hiding places, sneaky individuals can live well over the winter by profiting from the hard work of others. Scientists at the University of Cambridge have discovered that the birds are well aware of these shenanigans. Shenanigans. Do Google the word and find out. And as I read along, Arfa, tell us what shenanigans are. They discovered this by putting trays filled with two different materials into the aviaries. Aviaries are bird homes. Some trays contained sand, others gravel. Whereas sand doesn't make any noise when you dig it, gravel gives the game away by rattling. And jays kept this in mind when they buried their caches. If the jay were alone in their enclosure, it didn't matter to them whether they hid the proffered peanuts in sand or in gravel. In the competition could see and hear them when they were digging. It also didn't matter which material they were rummaging around in. In the first case, no other bird was around to witness where the precious booty was hidden. In the second, the birds realized that any bird watching them would know where the food was anyway. However, if the competition was out of sight, but still within earshot, the jays opted for the quieter sand. Under those conditions, there was a much higher likelihood that the potential thief would have no idea anything had been hidden. And for their part, the thieves were also quieter, whereas they normally called loudly when they saw other jays. When they were watching food being hidden, they were considerably less vocal, clearly to avoid betraying their presence. This experiment clarified two things. First, the bird doing the hiding can put itself in the position of other jays and take into account what they can and cannot see. And second, the future thief was obviously planning its actions in advance because it limited the sounds it made in order to increase its chances of later plundering the cache of peanuts undisturbed. Of course, theft in the sense of intentional seizure of assets that don't belong to you doesn't occur only within a species. Come winter, in many deciduous woods, you can find traces of interspecies plundering. Sometimes you come across holes in the forest floor, 30 to 60 centimeters deep, their edges strewn with big clumps of excavated earth. Wild boar are the only animals that root around like this, and they do it in so-called must ears. This technical term describes years when beeches and oaks go into overdrive to produce seeds. These years were once a blessing for farmers. A mast year meant they could drive their domestic pigs into the woods one last time to fatten them up before the winter slaughter. Farmers are not allowed to pasture their animals in woodlands any longer, at least not in Central Europe. But the term must, from the German masten, to fatten, is still used. Naturally, wild boar behave the same way as the domestic relatives in the mustia. They put on a nice thick layer of fat. But once the unexpected gift has been cleaned up and all the nuts lying on the ground have been scarfed down, rumbling stomachs demand a top up, and snacks can still be found deep down in the soil. This is where mice have buried stores. Pantries stock with their portion of the harvest so they can make it safely through the winter. Even in times of hard frost, the ground doesn't freeze more than a few centimeters below the insulating layer of leaf litter. And in the mouse's quarters, it's always at least 5 degrees Celsius. Thanks to a cozy layer of leaves and moss and a completely drought-free location, a mouse can survive very well down here. That is, as long as no wild boar comes calling. The grey hustlers have extremely sensitive noses and can smell the mouse's digs from meters away. From experience, they know that the little creatures diligently collect beech nuts and other seeds and store them away together in one convenient spot. An enormous store that will last a mouse for months is a tiny snack that will tide a wild boar over until the next meal. However, Since mice mostly live in large colonies, a large number of small snacks can provide the calories a wild boar needs to make it through a cold winter's day. And so the boar burrows along the underground tunnels, smashing storerooms and emptying them in a couple of gulps. The only option the mice have is to flee and face an uncertain future. For in winter, there are very few sources of food for the homeless. If the mice can't evade the wild boar underground, they are gobbled up along with their food stores. Boar enjoy their meat with veggies on the side. At least the swallowed mice are spared a long, slow death from starvation. What does this behavior look like from an ethical point of view? The wild boar's plundering of mouse assets isn't really theft because they are not deceiving other boars. They are perfectly aware that they are raiding mouse provisions, but this is completely normal way for them to get food, even if the proceedings look very different from the perspective of the mice. So we got a good reading of the food chain. I'm putting a bookmark here at Take Courage. Manisha ma'am, will you note it down?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the bookmark is on Take Courage. I will stop share, or you want me to share the Joy of Learning diaries? What do you want, ma'am?
So we have 10 minutes, we can do that.
Lovely. So back to the Joy of Learning diaries. On the Joy of Learning diaries, please read this little post here. I know it's my picture. It's a very interesting article on the art of reading and what reading can do for you. This article has been featured in this month's Mentor magazine, which is published by LXLL Ideas from Bangalore. It's a, you can also listen to the article if you go at gsi.in. So if you wish to listen to the article, then you can go to gsi.in, where the same article is available in a podcast form. And along with the podcast form, you can get this link to the magazine. So you can listen on gsi.in. It's reading for a living. The content is slightly different, but the story is the same. Before the editors created this article, we had a conversation. So the conversation is available on the podcast format if you're a listener. And if you want to read, best you go to the Mentor magazine and read the article. You'll find this article very, very interesting, from classrooms to bookshelves. So behind me are bookshelves, and here I am in a classroom. Do enjoy the article. I will only read the introduction. Books play a pivotal role in a child's growth and development by creating a rich environment for learning and imagination. I'll pause here. Anyone wants to add what books do to you? How do you feel when you read? Arfa, are you still there? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell us about shenanigans and then you can
Yes.
converse with me. Yeah.
Shenanigans are like mischievous behaviors which are done to annoy others.
Okay. So have you ever been part of any shenanigans?
No, sir.
No. You just told us the other day that you did some naughty things and never got caught in school, or you got caught, whichever way.
No, sir. I didn't say that.
You didn't say that. So this question to you, it says books play a pivotal role in a child's growth and development by creating a rich environment for learning and imagination. You've been here perhaps adding up the days and sessions you've attended to no one else has attended that many. What do you say? Do books really help you?
Yes, sir, I would say yes because
How do they add to your imagination? That's the question.
when authors write about any story or perhaps anything philosophical, they help us imagine a new perspective. And let's suppose when we were reading Toto Chan, we would imagine everything in our heads. So that would also help with our creativity and imagining skills. And not only that, but also vocabulary, like obviously. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, it goes on to say that it nurtures curiosity, it enhances language skills, helps you cognitively. So, do read this article. I would like Manisha ma'am, or I think Gurdeep is doing the note. Whosoever is doing it, please confirm and do mention reading of this article in your reflection piece, ma'am.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, it's a nice article. It tells you what the library is about, how your parents can help you, consuming content today, how we consume content is not only in print form or book form, because reading is connected with books only. It's not that way. We consume content. And I've also talked about content being poured into the cloud. Discover that. It's something very futuristic where you won't have to read. We'll be able to pour a book into your head. I've also recommended 2, 3 books here. So do have a look at it. Palash, you wanted to say something. Palash, you put your hand up. Yeah,
It was by accident, Palash.
Advik, you're not getting a turn now. You've got too many turns today. Someone else has to get the turn. I'm sorry. Don't hog all the limelight. Yeah. Okay. And my dig at everyone. Instead of raising your hand so much here, why don't you do some reflections? Manisha ma'am, what do you have to say now? You worked so hard putting it together, and today Gurdeep has got homework. Why shouldn't these students also get homework?
Certainly. For everyone, I have put a little equation. Can you please check and let me know what is the meaning of KSA? Yes, my dear, lovely, lovely little students, or I'll say teenagers. Todd, can you please let me know KSA equals competence? So what actually I'm hinting for KSA? Knowledge, skills, and ability. That's great. So when your knowledge plus your skills connect with the right ability, you're going to get your competence. So do you all agree with that? Are you using your knowledge, skills, and actually in case of ability, I'll say attitude, right? Attitude. So if your attitude is correct and put it in a correct way, you are certainly going to do wonders. So how many of you are really interested to use KSA? Can I see the hands up?
Manisha ma'am, they now talk of Kasab. They've added a B to it. You can find out what KSAB is. I'm giving you homework also. They added a B to it as far as professional learning is
Yeah,
concerned.
somebody, Kritik, mentioned knowledge, skills, and activeness. Yes, you have to be active enough to understand things and how things are changing at your end. Activeness is also very much appropriate here. So for you all to understand this, we have put up a little reflection points. So reflection questions are very much there. You'll be getting in a few minutes. You can go and check your reflection points. See, here is schools, sir, please. Sunday school number 170, 179. I'm sorry, I can't read the number.
170, ma'am.
170. So the next step is going to come 171. So last week also nobody has shared anything with me. So this time please share from 170 or 171, whichever you feel is good enough, you can do it. I'll prefer 171 because that's the new week started and all, and you all also must be going to your school, back from your home, holidays must be over. So please work on this and send me as many as reflections you can. The reflection can be, you can doodle it, you can do a painting, or you may also write something about the topics which is being shared.
Manisha ma'am, why don't they write about what they did in the holidays?
Of course, you can add that point also, what you have done during the holidays.
Add that in your
Did you-
reflection now that you mentioned holidays. They can
Did
even
you learn any skill?
Absolutely. What did you eat? What did you wear? Whom did you go out with? Any stories from your family? Anything you would like to share which had an impact on you? You came back to school, you feel like crying. Why do you feel like crying if you're in a boarding school? So do share these reflections with us. Do read this article in the Mentor magazine. Manisha ma'am, in the right column, if you see, these are articles which have been read, reread, read. So they are articles being read. And I see that still some of the older articles are very well read. Rishona's article on football is written like 2 years back. So which means people are still reading it. Look at Autobiography of a Pen. This is by Oshii. There's an interesting piece by Raveda. So then, yes, Sunday, 5th Jan reflection would show up because people have come to see what the reflections are. There's Autobiography of a Phone, which people have read recently. There's Trip to a Hot Spring, which people have read. Yes, we keep talking about Toto Chan. There is a review on The Lighthouse. This is a book we read some time back on the story of Ratan Tata. And we've had so many people come here and read and take content, which is almost 5.6 lakhs. Thank you for that. On that note, I want to mention two things. This week, we celebrate 5 years of the Learning Forward India Foundation. And in these 5 years, we've come a long way. Since before we actually formally formed the foundation, we have been working in this field for almost a decade. Field of spreading the joy of learning. And when we look around, we have as many as 30 lakh views, reads, references from our content. It shows that you are appreciating it. But please share your appreciation with us. Do write comments. We also need you to encourage us to write more. We need you to encourage us to do good. So you can always write here. For example, I'm going to write here a small thing.
Hi Sandeep, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I am at the exhibition, right? And I wanted to show you the lovely work that's on display here by the students of Sunbeam Mehertara.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, so.
Yeah, we can see you. Turn the camera around.
Yeah. Let me see how to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. You do the reverse camera on your phone and show it to us. We're seeing you. In your camera,
I
just
know.
the phone.
How to reverse it.
Share. You have to share screen on Zoom. Or share camera. We just saw it behind. Stand the other way around. Stand away, looking away from the artwork, we'll see it. I give you a trick. Yeah, we can see it.
No, I'm just how to.
Yeah, we can see it behind you. I said we can see the
I
artwork.
know, but I'm trying to see how the hell to turn this camera around.
Shoot a video and send it to us.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
Now let me see how to share the screen. Like I'm on my phone, so
Yeah, we can see the screen. Phone. We could see the pictures.
You can see?
Yeah, now we can see.
So this is one fall poster, and then I'm just take you through the pictures that are there, right?
You did a great job by making it a time for Sunday school.
Just look at that.
Well, Dr. Ragini has done well.
Fantastic. Very good. And these are, I can't tell you how good this work is.
He's Mr.
One name I can sort of
standing
zoom in
there.
on.
Beautiful artwork.
You give sir, can you tell us something about returning to love as you were there on the ground?
Yeah. Then there are many more. Let me just take this route.
Oh, equity you saw there.
Yeah. This one is by Sharanya Mishra and Dakshita Gujral. And there is oneness. Amardeep would have been happy. Yeah. Gender equality.
Send the picture to Amardeep.
That's the full lot. Just the way the room is, I can't sort of. Then this is a whole lot more.
So what you do, Jugjeep, shoot a video, we'll add it on the Joy of Learning diaries. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll do. I've taken some video. I'll take one more.
Yeah.
Right. So this is now again. This is on Serenity at Dawn. So, I mean, okay, so I don't know if you got anything out of it, but that's the full lot.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Enjoy the event.
Yep.
Thank you for going there. And Manisha ma'am's daughter is volunteering here also.
Yes, I asked to see her at the gate, but I haven't met her as yet, but I will meet her.
Thank you. Enjoy the day. It's 12:30.
Okay.
We've had a wonderful
Bye.
morning in my good school. Manisha ma'am, over to you. And a big thank you to Gurdeep.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you everyone for joining. I'm just looking forward for your reflections. Please see, as many of the Sunbeam students we just saw in the art gallery, how beautifully they have painted. Same thing you all can also do during your holidays, wherever you have been. You can just make a collage of all the pictures. Maybe you can draw or just paste it and send it to me.
Ma'am, make a newsletter, My Holidays. They
Please
can
make a newsletter for my holidays and send it to me. I'll be very happy to post and publish them.
You can make individual PowerPoints. You can make individual PowerPoints with your pictures and send them to ma'am. That's the easiest way to send them.
Please send it. Thank you.
Enjoy yourself and look forward to the reflections of the Joy of Learning diary soon. On 14th of January, we celebrate birthday 5. Wish yourself happy birthday on behalf of the Learning Forward Foundation. Yes, you haven't booked your ticket for the retreat yet. Do that soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.